the previous videos, I presented you with undeniable evidence of life after death, explained where we go immediately after it, and clarified what dreams really are. If you haven't watched them yet, you can click on the name of my channel, and in the Videos tab, you'll find all the films I've published. Today, however, I want to address a very important issue. Given that the number of suicides has significantly increased in recent years, I want to talk to you about the tragic consequences one experiences after a suicidal death, particularly in the immaterial subworlds. Let's begin. There are likely some among you who are overwhelmed by daily suffering. Poor health, family, or work problems, and various traumas and tragedies can effectively take away the desire to live. When good moments in life become fewer and fewer, the days are almost completely filled with those that are mediocre or bad. At that point, the thought of ending this life may cross many people's minds. Some decide to take this desperate step when suddenly faced with enormous and unexpected problems they cannot handle. But let's also consider millionaires who, despite having everything one could possibly have in this world, or at least it may seem that way, also sometimes decide to end it all for various reasons. Perhaps even some of you have thought that if life after death exists and is much better, why should you suffer here for many more years? However, I warn you that this is a very dangerous way of thinking. Suicide is never a good solution. I will try to explain why. First of all, watching videos about life after death on the internet, as well as simply reading, among other things, my book will not make you ready enough to easily return to the true home after the death of your physical body. If you do not cleanse yourself of attachments, memories, and traumas, they will act as a ball and chain. Moreover, if you do not practice LD and OBE, the immaterial world may truly surprise and overwhelm you after the death of your physical body. Functioning in such worlds is entirely different from life in the seemingly stable material world. Furthermore, taking a life, whether someone else's or your own, is a very destructive act, and therefore contrary to true love, which is creative energy. As a result, your vibrations when you do this will be very low. This, combined with the burden you did not cleanse yourself of, will most likely cause you to end up in a world that resonates with those vibrations, meaning it will also be low vibrational. As I mentioned, such worlds are inhabited by beings saturated with evil and suffering. There, you may experience moments of horror, or even get stuck there for a long time. Of course, time does not exist in these worlds. However, being still attached to the physical world you just left, you may feel like a significant amount of time is passing. To make matters worse, if you did not practice any exercises during life that allow you to feel your true, immaterial self, so that you identify more strongly with it daily, then after a suicidal death, you will remain attached to your ended physical existence for much longer. This will only bind you more strongly in the low vibrational worlds, allowing other beings there to exert stronger influence on you. There are many accounts from people who, during near-death experiences, found themselves in such worlds. In my own astral travels, I have also encountered them more than once. The difference, however, is that during LD and OBE, if something frightens you greatly, you will most likely simply wake up, returning your consciousness to your physical body. However, the more often you undertake such journeys, the better and calmer you handle what you encounter there. After the death of the physical body, however, there will be no such safety net in the form of waking up. Another thing that can happen if you end your earthly life by your own hand is reincarnation. And it is not necessarily that you will request it yourself. Sometimes a being with whom you once made a contract may summon you to fulfill the terms of the agreement. Then it may turn out that, due to the lack of proper practices during life, you will be too weak, fearful, and unaware to protest, invoking your free will. It could also be that you realize the harm you have done to your loved ones by leaving this world so suddenly. Then you may decide to return to them in another incarnation to somehow make up for that harm. It can also happen, as it often does, that you decide to relive the ended incarnation to correct the mistakes you made in it. Attachments or addictions that you did not manage to cleanse yourself of may affect you so strongly that you decide to incarnate again to experience them once more. Many of us have probably overdone it with alcohol at some point, haven't we? Then, while suffering over the toilet bowl, you promised yourself that it was the last time. But as soon as you recovered, the situation repeated itself a week or a month later. It is similar after death. If you do not end up in low vibrational worlds, you may feel an incredible bliss and relief. You will fully realize that life after death truly exists. But instead of taking steps to return to the true home, you decide to get back on the destructive carousel and reincarnate. I'm talking, of course, about those who are aware at that point that the true home exists and should be the goal of this journey. Unfortunately, most people do not have that awareness and mistakenly believe that the immaterial dimensions of the world of suffering are the true home, which usually ends in another incarnation. So remember, my dear friends, that there is no experience in this world that you are unable to handle in some way. There is always a solution or strength within you to survive any experience. Always. If you want to learn the knowledge and practices that will give you distance from daily challenges and help you cope with life's adversities much better, I encourage you to explore my publication. That's all for today. Thank you for your time and see you next time.